Charles Barkley has reportedly agreed to a 10-year deal with TNT that's estimated to be worth over $100 million. Let's be honest, Barkley is arguably one of the most popular sports studio analysts out there, and he's in a landscape where salaries for sportscasters have just changed dramatically over the years. And if TNT were to let him go, it'd just be terrible. Just terrible.
But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year, I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you.
They can't fire me. That's what Barkley's shouting like he's untouchable. And with a $210 million bag in his pocket, he just might be. Dude strutting through ESPN like it's his playground, skipping shows, ignoring calls, and daring anybody to check him. And guess what? Nobody's checking him, not even close. While Chuck's out here doing whatever he wants, Shannon Sharpe's stuck on the sidelines. ESPN cut him off real quick after some messy scandal drama, slapped him with legal stress and morality rules like he's in court, not a studio. Every move Shannon makes is being watched. But Charles? He's out here moving like the boss of the building. And Shannon? Oh, he's not quiet about it. Behind the scenes, he's calling ESPN out like, why Chuck get to act wild while I'm getting punished? It's loud, it's real, and it's clear. Double standards all over the place. But Chuck ain't backing down either. He's been tossing shade right back, basically saying, I run this joint now. So how's he pulling it off? Simple. That unfiltered convo he had with Dan Dage on Outkick broke it all open.
You know, there's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere.
The only decision we've been making is how long I'm on work. And I've been going back and forth with TNT for the last 2 months, whether I'm going to work 2 years or 3 years. But if I really wanted to, I could stay for 7 years, which there's no chance of that happening. Zero.
Chuck kept it 100. Told ESPN he's done talking about the Lakers. Period. He don't care how fat the paycheck is. He's speaking his mind, and if they don't like it, too bad. He's not playing by their rules anymore. Any other dude in Chuck's position would be tiptoeing through ESPN like it's sacred ground, just trying to secure that check. But not Charles Barkley. Man's got zero fear in his system. Why? Because he knows the truth. ESPN needs him way more than he needs them, and he ain't shy about it either. He spelled it out clear as day. They can't fire me. I make too much money to get fired, so they can't fire me. And he wasn't bluffing. He even threw in, if they fire me, they still gotta pay me for 7 years. And I ain't even planning on being here that long. That came straight from Barkley's own mouth. He's not playing any games. Right now, Chuck's only concern is how long he feels like staying. That's power. That's leverage. Meanwhile, Shannon Sharpe's on the bench like a sidelined rookie, watching the circus from afar and probably thinking this some BS. And Barkley's still turning up the heat. I ain't worried about getting fired, and nobody at ESPN's gonna tell me what to say or do, period. That's how bold he's gotten since landing that monster 10-year, $210 million deal in 2022. He's moving like a made man. Here's the wildest part. Once you lock in a deal that huge, it's guaranteed money, baby. Even if ESPN tried to cut him loose over some violation, they'd still owe the full $210 million. That's a hit they do not want to take, and let's be real. Chuck ain't trying to hustle till he's 70 like Stephen A. or Shannon. Nah, he's on his own wave. He's not grinding for scraps. He already ate. Chuck? Man, he's halfway out the game already. He ain't chasing deals or begging networks. He's gliding on cruise control, doing it his way. While Shannon and the rest gotta walk the line just to keep a seat at the table, Barkley's playing a whole different league. Earlier this year on NBA TV, he made it real clear. He's the boss of his exit plan. And when he said, I ain't going nowhere other than TNT, but I've already decided. Next year is my last on TV, period. The room went silent. This wasn't some slick negotiation tactic or a play to get other networks knocking. Nah, Chuck said it straight. He already talked to him, and he's not signing with anybody else. That means no strings, no stress, no censors. Chuck saying whatever he wants because he's got nothing left to lose. And when he popped up again on Outkick, same vibe. Cool, calm, and unbothered. He even admitted he's been chopping it up with the execs about how long he plans to stick around, but let's be real, he's not finishing that full contract. Technically, there's 7 years left on paper, but Charles already told them he's not going the distance. And if ESPN tries to pull the plug before he walks, go ahead. He still gets every single cent of that $210 million. That's a golden parachute with 0 strings. All that's left for ESPN now, another public headache in a lineup full of drama they can't control. Chuck didn't even clock in at ESPN yet, and he's already swinging. He straight up said he's not pulling up to Get Up, First Take, Sports Center, or any of those shows. Once he touches down, he's sticking to his rules, no exceptions. And here's where it gets real juicy. ESPN just snatched the NBA rights from TNT Sports, which means Inside the NBA is sliding over to ESPN next season. So yeah, Chuck's coming with it. And you know ESPN's itching to milk every drop out of that $210 million deal. But Chuck? Nah, he's already shutting all that noise down. He's not putting in extra work just because they threw the bag at him. And the real shocker, he ain't hyped at all about sharing airtime with Stephen A. Smith. That's a clash waiting to explode. And let's talk about that Kendrick Perkins moment. Brutal. Chuck cooked him so hard it echoed. He joked Perkins can't tell the difference between a hole in the wall and his own booty hole. Yikes. With burns like that, don't hold your breath for a happy ESPN reunion. These dudes are not vibing on the same screen anytime soon. Chuck's about to crash into ESPN like a wrecking ball. No scripts, no chains, no chill, and still walking off with that fat check like it's business as usual. And who's watching all this unfold, steaming on the sidelines? You already know. Shannon Sharpe, the same network that tossed him over a lawsuit, is now letting Chuck run wild like a king. Word on the street, Shannon's been venting heavy behind the scenes, but before he flips a table, he might want to check the scoreboard first. Him and Chuck, not in the same league, not even close. The New York Times even said ESPN's throwing him around $6.5 million a year just to debate Stephen A. twice a week on First Take. That's cool money, but Chuck's out here playing in a whole different tax bracket. And when we talk value, Chuck brings in those superstar level numbers. Shannon's got some heat, no doubt, but he's not untouchable, especially not with that messy civil suit still hanging over him. Let's not forget, it allegedly involves a girl just barely over 18. That's the kind of mess Disney don't want any part of. And don't get it twisted, Disney runs the whole ship over at ESPN, and they don't play when it comes to image. Everything's about that clean brand, period. That's exactly why those tight morality clauses exist, to give them a trap door. If you even look like a scandal, they're gone. These contracts got slick terms like public disrepute, humiliation, and scandal baked in, so they can drop you quick if the heat turns up. Chuck knows how to move smart. He plays chess, not checkers. But Shannon, he's still learning how this game's rigged. And that's exactly why someone like Shannon Sharpe gets axed. Disney didn't just boot him on a whim. Nah, he fumbled bad. The man's 56 and somehow ends up in headlines with a 19-year-old. Execs were sitting there like, here we go again, shaking their heads in disbelief. And this ain't the first time Shannon messed up. Who could forget that wild Instagram fiasco last year? The man practically live-streamed his own bedroom chaos for the whole internet to see. You'd think he'd learn from that wreck. But nah, no PR team in sight, no NDA, no filter, just reckless move after reckless move. That's a quick way to get the boot, especially when your paycheck's coming from Disney, the land of clean-cut image. Disney don't play with mess. The second you bring drama to their front door, they toss you out fast. No second chances. And it ain't just gossip anymore. People been saying they didn't just let Shannon walk. They banned him from the whole network. One insider claimed it's a done deal. Shannon's ESPN career is already toast. But hold up. Someone else deep in ESPN's production squad said it's not that simple. According to them, Shannon still locked in for First Take every Monday and Tuesday and all that time off? Just regular breaks, no scandal behind it. So yeah, the verdict's still hanging in the air. But one thing's crystal clear. When that scandal hit, it hit hard. Even Stephen A. had to step in and say something. And when the CEO of Disney himself gets involved, that's a major red flag waving in broad daylight. And let's not pretend like Shannon was everyone's favorite backstage either. Folks were already talking about how tough he was to work with. One source even dropped a serious claim, saying he once got accused of putting hands on a female production assistant back at Fox Sports. Now that's the kind of baggage no network wants. This wasn't just drama, this was a full-blown disaster. And the wild part? It all started before that $50 million civil suit even dropped. So yeah, Shannon Sharpe might be tight with ESPN. But if you zoom out and peep the whole timeline, this wasn't one slip-up. It was mistake after mistake until Disney finally said, "We're done mopping up your mess." Now here's where it goes off the rails. The alleged incident with Shannon happened way back during his undisputed run from 2016 to 2023. But guess what? He didn't even get fired. Fox just kept it hush-hush behind the scenes. Word is he and the woman settled for a few $100,000, and then silence. No big headlines, no firing. Just a quiet sweep under the rug. A rep for Shannon tried to spin it, saying there was no choking on set. Called it light, playful contact between coworkers. Real casual. And when folks started digging, that same rep said, "Call Fox directly." But fans weren't falling for that. They know the game. Those statements are about saving face, not telling the full truth. The real shock? Fox didn't drop him on the spot. But let's keep it real. That's how Hollywood rolls. If you're pulling numbers and your name stays hot, they'll let you slide while the checks keep flowing. But now, we're in the Disney ESPN era, and that's a different beast. Technically, they could have kept Shannon around, but with lawsuits popping up, fans getting louder, and his name getting dragged through the mud, Disney wasn't about to risk their polished image for a guy drowning in controversy. They saw the chaos coming and cut ties before it burned down their whole house. Even Sage Steele had to speak up. The former SportsCenter anchor lit ESPN up on X, formerly Twitter, putting the network on full blast for what she called a broken system, and she didn't sugarcoat anything. According to her, Disney's quick to silence conservative voices, but slow to check people wrapped up in actual scandals. She laid it out raw, said ESPN's got a pattern. Conservative women? Gone. But someone like Shannon, who's been caught in multiple messy situations involving women, gets to stay on camera. At least for a little while. That tension's been brewing behind the scenes for years, but now, folks are done keeping quiet. Ashley Brewer Kaminsky, another ex-ESPN name, came forward with her own receipts. She said, "Never forget when I got chewed out by my boss for posting a pic of a Republican congressman and a UFC fighter on my IG story at the McGregor fight. LOL. Just a reminder, ESPN's got hard rules when it comes to politics. But here's where it gets shady. Ashley caught heat over a harmless IG post, while Shannon was knee-deep in a legal mess and still got FaceTime on air. And let's not act like we forgot about Sage's suspension either. She got sidelined just for speaking out against ESPN's COVID vax policy. Now stack that next to the serious stuff Shannon was mixed up in. The double standard couldn't be louder if it screamed. Bottom line, some folks get tossed for a story post while others skate through scandal after scandal with barely a scratch. It's clear who got the softer landing, and people are calling it out loud now. If Disney had tried to keep Shannon after all that heat, man, it would have blown up into a straight-up legal battlefield. Former staff would have lined up with lawsuits, crying wrongful termination, and dragging Disney's squeaky clean brand into the courtroom chaos. So yeah, cutting ties was pure survival mode. Clean break, no extra drama. Just get out while you still can. Now swing the spotlight back to Charles Barkley. Yeah, he's out here doing his own thing, talking retirement, refusing to follow scripts, but let's keep it real. He's not bringing lawsuits or scandal smoke into the office. Next to Shannon, Chuck's looking like a saint. That's why he's still sitting pretty, bag after bag, no setbacks. He might be wild on air, but he's not out here being a liability. No HR issues, no sketchy headlines, no court papers, just unfiltered Chuck keeping it real. And that right there, that's what keeps him golden. He pulls big numbers, the fans ride for him, and ESPN knows they can't afford to lose that kind of pull. Charles Barkley's the moneymaker. Shannon? He ain't built the same. He's a talent short, but he's not untouchable. And the suits at ESPN, they see it crystal clear. Even Stephen A. Smith, who always had Shannon's back in public, had to keep it honest. When Shannon got told to step away, Stephen admitted it stung. It was a blow, he said. A blow to the show, a blow to me. But not a surprise. And when Stephen A. talks like that, it means the writing was already on the wall. Shannon just didn't see it coming. Stephen A. reminded everybody he's been rolling with Disney since 2003. He knows how that empire moves behind closed doors. And now, you got Charles Barkley flipping every rule in the book, causing chaos and still walking out clean. While Shannon's taking hit after hit, sitting on L's and boiling with frustration. But let's keep it real. Before Shannon pops off again and drags his name even lower, maybe he needs to face the truth. This wasn't some random hit job. He got caught up in a mess he created, and now the consequences are knocking. But hey, we want to hear your take on it. Should Shannon be heated? Or is this just how the media game plays out when you step into that spotlight and can't handle the heat? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're watching. Smash that like button if you're here for the truth. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the next bombshell. And yo, share this with your crew, because this drama, it's nowhere near done. We'll catch you in the next one. It's only getting messier.